Okay, so let's get ready to talk about some of these issues, and then perhaps we'll come back, and I do want to hear more about your hobbies and different things, because I know you're involved in a lot of different things. You mentioned LNG, and you know, it's a volatile subject. A lot of people here are pro or con. In about 30 seconds, can you tell me why you are against LNG?
Why I'm against LNG? In 30 seconds. All right, here goes. I'm not against LNG for the same reason most people who are against it are against it. I'm against it because it doesn't belong on our North Spit. Do I think it's hazardous? Yes, but there's a lot of things that are hazardous, and I kind of support the side that's against it because of their position on that. But there's other reasons to be against it. No matter what they want to call it or how fancy a picture they show you, LNG is essentially a type of a refinery. They're not refining anything, they're recovering and restoring. But the fact of the matter is, when you drive by that on the highway, it looks like a refinery, and I don't want it here to destroy our tourism.
So Steve, why don't you tell the viewers why you want to be their county commissioner?
I want to be the county commissioner because I think that I can do things for the county that would benefit all the residents of the county. All the residents are not always going to agree with me, but what I can do for them is listen to what they have to say, try to choose in my mind what is right and what is wrong, and even when I may not be able to choose, to listen to those who have the answers and to use those answers to formulate plans that will help us spend the money more wisely, find better ways to bring revenue into the county that can benefit all the people who live here. Money is what it's all about right now. I'm not a person who tends to tax and spend. I would like to see taxes used in the most effective way. I think that we need someone in county government, which we don't seem to have right now, who doesn't want to just rubber stamp everything that every department brings to them. We need someone there who is willing to make the tough decisions to get through the times we're having right now, and hopefully I would be arriving as a county commissioner at about the time that things should start picking up in this nation, and by that same token, the state, and then on down to the county. County is an important part of government. County has a lot of influence on the state, and the state has a lot of influence on federal decisions. County is about as high as you can go and still have a grassroots support and contact. Once you go above that, you start divorcing yourself from the people. Below county level, it's very localized. By the time you get to the county level, where I'd like to be, you have influence on what happens in this nation in the most direct way you can, right straight from the people to the people. You're that bridge that takes the local problems, issues, and the good things that are local, not everything isn't a problem, and filters it on through to the people just above you who have the direct contact with the federal level. Quite frankly, the federal government's where a lot of our money comes from in this county. We have some issues right now that are with the federal government where funds are not being received in this county that probably should. And I think that I can't think of a better reason to be a county commissioner than to be that filter, that ear of the people who then become a voice to pass on their wishes to the higher levels of government.
Well, you bring up the better ways to bring money into this county, and I got the sense that perhaps maybe the current county commissioners are not in step with the times that are happening now. Maybe they were back more when times were good, but now that times are hard, maybe they're not in step. Would you agree with that statement?
I think it goes even further than that. You have right now 2 county commissioners who have been here forever. Their ideas are entrenched in what is happening in Coos County. They haven't enough vision to see beyond Coos County what else is going on. They're bringing nothing fresh to the game. I think that by coming from the Midwest, the South, even from Southern California, living here in different parts of Oregon, I bring something to Coos County that isn't here in government right now. I haven't been here forever. I've been someplace else and seen what works. I've had the opportunity to be involved in things that benefit rather than just, well, this is how we've always done it. All three commissioners right now are guilty of that. The two that are running and the one who isn't, who was just elected, all have that same issue of, this is how we've always done it. Why should we do it any different? Maybe someone might come along with a new idea once in a while, and if there's no other option, they would go for that. But otherwise, it's business as usual. It's time to stop business as usual. Business as usual is sinking us. There's good things happening in this county, and they're not being promoted. The things that need to happen are not being promoted because they're doing business as usual. We've got some money problems in this country, and those money problems are hurting this county. And we're not going to solve them by doing business as usual.
It brings me to another question then. And people are going to ask, what you're saying makes sense, but are you qualified? What are your qualifications?
In my last employment, I was a corporate manager for a very large company owned by a gentleman named Mike Heisley, who, those sports fans may know him as the owner of the Grizzlies. He is a corporate rescuer, and he purchased a company that I had worked for about 8 years. I worked for him for another 2 years as a corporate manager of data processing and new technology. But my job went much further. As a corporate manager, I was involved in all 5 of the U.S. plants scattered around the Midwest and South Midwest part of the country. And I was involved with over 250 individuals who I directly supervised or manage their day-to-day activities in an industrial environment. And I think that in itself, with budgeting, all the things you need to do to decide how you're going to spend your money wisely and make a profit, those are skills that become very critical in running a county also. On a corporate level, you tend to have to do more than you might as you move down the ladder further. And I have those skills for over 10 years. I spent exactly 10 years as a corporate manager with Neo Industries, for those who might like to know. It's a company that chrome plates work rolls for the steel mill industry and in the Midwest. And through them, I traveled an awful lot, saw an awful lot, and learned a lot from some very wise people. 5 plant managers, a company president, several accountants. These were all people who brought things to the table that I was able to take with me elsewhere and that I'd like to bring to this county and put to work.
Have you ever held any other type of elected office?
Not of any consequence. I am a past candidate for both City Council and for the Airport Board. I'm currently on the budget committee for the Airport Board. But my elected offices have been more on the club level. I did actually run as a senator one time and won as a student senator at Lane Community College back in about '68, at a time when the student senators actually were doing things. It was a very politically charged time in this country, and most of the student senators were poli-sci majors, and I was a drafting student at Lane and represented industrial tech. But I did spend 2 years as a senator, a student senator at Lane Community College.
It sounds like maybe you brought something fresh there, being a drafting student rather than a political science.
Absolutely, and sometimes I was the voice of opposition, which, that just reminded me of something that's really important.